Woo, woo. Lads,
Enjoying yourself, man?
We are back. We are back for the third season, by the way, third year in a row. We've got under 100 subscribers. We don't get many views. It's fucking third year. We're not bothered.
That was like an accolade. We've managed to get under 100 subscribers. It's virtually impossible for nobody up to 6 billion people in the world to watch this.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's just a testament to our attitude, I believe. We turn up most weeks, have a laugh, and we've come back for the third year.
New year, same music, and probably the same crack.
Yeah, I don't think the music will ever go. It's brilliant.
It's a banger. It's a good band. It's a good song.
Yeah, from the Felons who were a Darlington band. Yeah. So, what should we talk about? Do you know what? I had a big introduction for you both because I don't know if you're aware, we had a ITV1 documentary. It's Showtime now available.
I'm aware of that one. Yeah, I'm aware of that one. Seen it.
Yeah, so I had an interview with Gordon Smart on 5 Live, and the introduction was just like out of this world for me. You know, like he wrote things down. He prepared basically.
So it was seamless. It was professional. It was of a high standard. He thought, oh, wow, that's totally different to the Fantasy Front Office podcast. But totally I'll try that. And then you've forgotten, didn't bother.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
The dog ate your homework.
No. I honestly, I'd written it down. Like, I'm going to try harder for the introductions. That's what was one of my goals, and I messed it up.
Yeah, why do a bottle of red wine instead?
I can only apologise.
Why do today what you can do tomorrow, eh?
That's it. So, also as well, obviously, this is the first podcast since December last year.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really good with the drink, right? So I haven't had any drink. Well, I've had some drink, but not since last Friday. But then today I've got all excited. So you know what I mean? I did a bit of jet washing in the garden. And I thought I'd have a beer. And then one thing led to another. I've had a bottle of wine. And here we am.
Happy days. Now you're live on YouTube and nobody's watching.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Someone might watch in the future, though, and who knows? You know what I mean?
Could
might be dead, but anyway.
So yeah, I think we're here to have a bit of a rookie conversation, are we?
We are, mate. Yeah, Tommy Turnbull's joined. Look, yes, lads.
Even Thomas,
an avid viewer, listener.
He is.
He's a glutton for punishment.
He's a glutton for punishment. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to talk about rookies. Rookie Reset, Baz, was the name of the podcast today.
Actually, I like it.
Hang on a minute. What was that site you sent me before, Blandy?
Player profile.
I'm not sure. Oh, that one. I thought you wrote something else there.
Yeah, so the purpose of this tonight's draft chat, post draft chat. I think I'll go
rookie reset. Keep the tagline in there.
So whilst I try and find this website, can you two explain in terms of why we're interested in rookies? So obviously we've got rookies in terms of dynasty, then we've got rookies in terms of redraft, and I guess it's the change because what might go in dynasty might go for a premium price. Mm-hmm. It might not be the same price in redraft. Does that make sense?
So even though we're playing it's the same NFL, it's the same fantasy rules. The structure of these leagues are completely different, which will mean you want to take different players in different positions, and all the rookies are now going to be available in both formats. However, if you've got an established team in the dynasty format, you're only every year drafting the new players available. So basically, the guys who have become in the draft, you're only picking out a shallow pool of players. Whereas if you're doing your sort of the home leagues and the redrafts, everybody starts again and everybody gets to pick everyone. So in those types of scenarios, you still want to be picking the best players, not just the best rookies. Even though some of the best rookies may end up being first or second round picks in the redraft leagues as well.
Yeah, so just touch on that. Currently, Marvin Harrison Jr., who was the first wide receiver drafted, went to the Arizona Cardinals. In most rookie drafts that are ongoing at the minute, he's the 1 or 2 going to second pick overall. And in redraft or best ball drafts, he's currently going 13th overall, which is basically the highest that a rookie wide receiver has ever been drafted. Like you go back to Jamar Chase, he was being drafted in the 5th round previously, going anywhere between picks, say 45 to pick 60.
Really?
Marvin Harrison's already going pick 13 overall, start first pick of the 2nd round.
And is that based on the success of the likes of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase who've come in and just been studs from day one?
Yes, it is. Also, the situation that he's going into, he's obviously going to be the clear wide receiver one in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he's got a decent quarterback in Kyler Murray. But personally, I feel that he's kind of been drafted at his ceiling, 13th overall, even for a rookie as good a profile as what he's got. I think it's going to be tough to pay off that price in his first season in the league.
Yeah, again, we always like players, dislike players. It's a personal judgment, and you're trying to say, can I get a player better in a position drafted better than he's going to perform? And like I say, there's not a lot of scope on the upside there, is there?
No, he's almost been, like you said, been drafted, at his ceiling, where these other guys, Jefferson, Chase, when these guys came out as rookies, they kind of finished their season around about where you're going to want Marvin Harrison to finish his, but you were taking them 3, 4, 5, in some cases, double-digit round. Some of these. Garrett Wilson the other year, for example, was a 10th round pick.
Wow.
Yeah.
In redrafts, but again, that dynamic changes in your dynasty leagues, doesn't it? In terms of you've only got a small pool of players to pick from. Yeah. You may be needing a receiver, needing a quarterback, needing a running back, whatever. But if you've got, if you want to get 3 picks to go and 36 players, some of these players are going to have to go pretty early.
What I've always found in dynasty is like, when your wide receivers or your running backs are getting older, and then it starts to creep in your mind, oh, how many seasons am I going to get out with them now? Should I go for a rookie in the new draft? And then I always get carried away when for rookies, because it feels like you're on a slot machine or something, because you're putting probably a low amount in and you might get a high amount back. Do you know what I mean? It feels like a gambling touch going for rookies. And that's
people
why I like doing it.
Where people are, in most forms of life, people are excited by the unknown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is essentially what these guys are. It's one thing doing it in college. It's a completely different thing doing it in the NFL.
We all get alluded by this could be the next ... The next Patrick Mahomes, the next Justin Jefferson, the next Breece Hall, whoever we think is the stud that they aspire to. And a lot of the comparison things that you read always do compare a new player to an old player, don't they? And that suckers you in a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like hitting it sort of in terms of WhatsApp groups and having a bit of banter with the lads and all that. If you get a rookie and he's fucking absolutely unreal, the banter you can just it's brilliant. It's worth taking a risk for. But you get a lot of duds, so
we'll probably come on to it a little bit later. But these sort of things can make or break your best balls, can't? If you pick up a Puka Nacua or somebody out of a bit of obscurity in late rounds, but they turn into be the equivalent of a top 10 in that position, then you're absolutely flying. If you pick solid throughout everywhere else, you've got a massive edge over everyone, haven't you? Whereas I think you've got a little bit of a more of a free hit in the dynasty, like say, depending on what your squad and you look like. You're forced to pick 2 or 3, 4, 5 players. and you just say, "I'll just roll a dice this guy, roll a dice this guy." Hopefully, if I've already got 3 or 4 receivers, and I roll a dice on somebody who's
and you can wait a few weeks for him to show what
develop,
he's got, kind of thing, don't
yeah.
you?
And I think that was going to be some of my point actually in the home redraft leagues. Taking rookies, you're going to want them to be really effective in the first handful of weeks. You probably can't think I'm going to wait if I pick Harrison or somebody else in the first 3 or 4 rounds. I can't wait for them to get to week 8 before I start giving me some fantasy production. Otherwise, I'm behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, definitely. I remember go back a couple of years. Remember Jonathan Taylor, his rookie year, the first half of the season, he was dreadful, and he got dropped in a hell of a lot of home leagues, redraft leagues. Other people picked him up off waivers, and then the second half of the season, he was an absolute smash. And in his second year, obviously, went and built on that and had a 18, 19 point a game season.
Yeah, I think if you do, fire and take one of these guys, you've got to be patient with him. You've got to ride it out. You can't just jump ship too early, can you?
No.
You've got to stay for the long haul. So again, this is probably leads us nicely into a question I've got for both of you. What is it you're looking for? So when we're approaching rookie drafts, whether it's dynasty or best ball, and we're just looking at what we know a little bit about these players in the college league. We've had all the watch the draft, we've heard the chat and whatever it might be. What are you looking for in a rookie that makes you think I'm gonna take them in that position? Are we looking at college stats? Are we looking at potential? Are we looking at people who've got some good pedigree in college, the landing spot, the hair, the nickname? What are the important things that you look for in when you?
So one thing I fell foul of, and you will probably laugh at this, thinking I'm an absolute idiot, but obviously in Dynasty you've got like different types of league, and I remember going from redraft just on the NFL app to the sleeper app and all the different types you could get, and you've got like a super flex one where you can play quarterbacks in.
Yeah.
So what I've felt foul of before is like, if you're in one of them leagues, look for a quarterback.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like simple, but I actually messed up on that where I didn't think I just thought redraft league, I want to run them back because running backs are hard to come by, and you kind of forget them positions. So
Superflex, if you have a depth of quarterback, you're getting a good advantage because there isn't that many quarterbacks in the league that are decent, are there?
Yeah. No, and in Superflex leagues in Dynasty, quarterbacks will hold the value more, even if in their rookie season they're awful.
Yeah.
They will still, you will still get some trade value back off them should you wish to move on for them after their rookie year. So they're always good for holding value. A lot of the time when you play in Dynasty as well, it's as much as building up a good, powerful roster of players. It's also making sure those players maintain value, so you can always be replenishing. You're not just relying on the draft. You can trade those players away that because they're still worth something, and you can use those picks in upcoming rookie drafts where you can replenish at a good price, at a good cost.
Especially in a league where there's active trades going on, a lot of movement of players and picks. A lot of people like to trade away a 101, 102 for I want a player now because my team's looking a bit shit and I need someone to fill a gap. And they'll give you a really high. You just have to sit tight and think, I've got a reasonable squad, I can manage it through, and then I'm going to get a stud in a year or two's time. The old bird in the hand and the bird in the bush, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of Dynasty leagues that I play in, it's very rare if the person who has the 101 is the person who got who is worthy of the 101.
Who earns it? Yeah.
The 102, the 103. Those a lot of those picks have been traded in the past, or they'll be traded in the future. Whatever.
Because people are chasing. Because they're down the bottom of the league and they're chasing.
There's that. People.
It's like it's gambling, isn't it? Really.
It is. Yeah. One of my favourite tactics of taking advantage of people is you find. Well, no, I mean that's what you're playing. You're playing for money. You got to take advantage of people.
When they're desperate, kick them when they're down.
Well, no, what you find is that they'll have kind of an old squad, but it's a decent squad, and they think, right, if I can just get this player or get this pick, and I can, I'll go all in, I'll go all in this year because my squad in May and June looks great on paper. What your team looks like in May and June on paper is probably nothing what it's going to look like on paper in December. And these people who think that they've got a good squad that they can go all in with, they're very keen to give draft picks away. And I kind of just sit back and lap those draft picks up, and then you roll round to your rookie draft 9 months later on, and hey presto, you've got a 102, 103, 104 because someone overestimated how good the squad was.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quite simple thing to do.
Yeah, you say that.
You seem like someone who might get taken advantage of.
mate, it's pretty simple to do. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna wait for this. I'm just gonna wait for this fantasy trade for picks to pay off in a fucking like a year or two time. No one thinks it, do they? It's like most of us have come from like playing for Premier League, like fantasy, where you do like year and year. It's like everything. It's resets every year. No one was thinking, oh, fuck me, I'm going to have to plan like 5 years in advance for a fucking fantasy football game.
Yeah,
so not everyone does it, Blandy.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's a strategy in those like a long game of chess, Anthony. Just
fucking is a long game of chess.
Messing around with the pawns at the front because you're going to steam in with your bishop.
I understand it, mate. I understand it. I've just got while we're on that, it's got a Rubik's cube. Do you know how to do one?
Not a clue.
Is this a new thing or?
Yeah, it's a new fad. Yeah.
Oh,
so basically, at the minute, I'm going for the daisy. Basically, what they call it. So you see that yellow there. You're supposed to get like a white.
I think you're on the wrong podcast, mate. You've got another podcast probably in about an hour or two.
A white, and you get another white there, and you get a daisy, and that's as far as I've got.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Excellent.
Well, we're talking about tactics.
So moving on to sort of the serious things, and again back to what
Baz, before we go on, one thing I did forget in the intros that I planned to do, was also say fuck the Falcons still. Michael Penix, number 8. I mean, I'm no expert. I don't really know, but it seems
3 years, 3 years in the host of the podcast, you're not an expert.
It says unanimously that is a bad pick.
Are you throwing that bomb out there, are you, and just seeing what happens?
I don't think it's a bomb. I think it's widely known.
I don't mind it, and I think we had a bit of a chat at the time. I don't mind the approach of quarterbacks are hard to come by. Quarterbacks, to get good quarterbacks, even harder. Staying fit, just draft a rookie quarterback, and even if you've already got one, okay, the outside of it is you've just got $100 million quarterback on a longish term deal, and you've got someone who's going to potentially have to sit. But again, I'm not against people sitting for a year or 2 years and developing. So I generally don't mind it. It might just be the price is a bit rich for some people, and it's what you could have had if you didn't pick the quarterback. But I don't think it's a bad move.
I understand what Baz is saying. I can see what they're trying to achieve. The problem is the player that they picked. Like they wanting Michael Penix to sit and develop. Well, he played for 6 years in college. He played. He's played nearly 50 games in college. He's played for 6 years. So he's already 24. By the time they get out of Kirk Cousins' contract, he's going to be 27. Now, it's completely different to what the Packers did with Jordan Love, and that's what they kind of tried to use that excuse because Jordan Love was very raw, he was undeveloped, and he was very young. Where Michael Penix is the polar opposite. He's very old and he's very developed. And now you're kind of just going to sit and having to do nothing. And the benefit of having the rookie contract is that you can surround these players with talent because they're so cheap. Well, you're going to waste 3 years of his rookie deal.
Yeah.
So
You're gonna have to make up for it in other areas because you're handicapping yourself a little bit there, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. If they did that with, say, a JJ McCarthy, who's still 20 or just turning 21, was good at Michigan but wasn't asked to do an awful lot, I could understand it more. It's just the player that they selected in Penix. They're going to want to sit and develop him for 3 years, but he's not right. He's a finished article already.
Yeah, he's got a good level of college experience. I still think it's that transition from college football to NFL that they need to just take.
But he ran at Washington. At Washington, he ran a pro style system. It wasn't a college. His offensive coordinator at Washington is now the new offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. They ran a pro style system. He had Roma Dunze was his wide receiver one.
So he should have an easier transition than most.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He doesn't need to sit and develop.
I'm not too fussed about the age thing either. I know, like say, a lot of time playing college. The age thing isn't a big deal for me in terms of you get lots of QBs drafted number 1 pick or first round, and they're just crap. They're crap and they're done. It doesn't matter how old they are. Your Zach Wilsons, your Mitch Trubisky's, the age is irrelevant. They're just crap.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that as well, because like quarterback in terms of age is like running backs and wide receivers. You think like they've only got like a certain like lifespan, haven't they? Quarterbacks seem to like obviously the good ones obviously seem to last into like the 40s, don't they?
They do, but again, a lot of the ones that do last into the 40s are the ones that were drafted when they were 21, 22, not 24. Like Burrow is the exception to the rule, basically.
There's not many who make it to your 40s. You're going to be lucky if you draft a quarterback who keep him till he's late 30s.
Yeah, you don't get any running backs to go in the 40s, do you? You don't get any wide receivers going in the 40s.
No, but what I mean is that
Frank Gore still going.
They've stayed around that. They've stayed around that long in the league, where they're still like your Joe Flacco's, etc. He's still kicking around in the league. Yeah. It's those ones that were drafted young that then develop as they get through the early 20s.
I'm sure I'm in a dynasty league. I'm sure I'm in a dynasty league with you, Anthony. You've got Frank Gore and Adrian Peterson as your running backs.
I probably have.
His son was in this draft, Frank Gore.
Yeah, did he get picked up?
He didn't. No, his old man is more athletic than him at his age. Yeah, so no, he did not get. He's on a roster. I can't remember where he is, but he wasn't drafted. He was a UDFA.
So when you're doing your research, then Blandy, which area are you giving the most focus to? Then stats, the fact that they've had a long spell or they've had a short spell in college and showed flashes and there's upside there, where they've landed, what sort of team they're going into, which one of those sort of you give a lot more weight to than others?
Depends on position, really. It depends on position. So generally with quarterback, you just let the NFL tell you who they value, basically. They will do that through draft capital. So that's kind of the easiest way to do it.
But there's less pressure. There's less pressure from us as drafting fantasy teams to think, I want to take a punt on a fantasy quarterback, because we don't really want to do that too high anyway, do we? Especially in redrafts. Your best ball. Even in your best balls, you're gonna go for your studs anyway. You're gonna go for your Mahomes, your Allens, your Jacksons, your Burrows before you even look at someone like Caleb Williams, aren't you?
Yeah, Caleb's gone in around about the 90s at the moment in best ball drafts. So 8th round, mid rounds, he's going there. Jaden Daniels goes a little bit after him. and
We
then
don't. So for the
Drake
quarterback
May,
position,
JJ McCarthy are late.
for the quarterback position, I don't think we have to be too focused on any one thing. It's just where do we think that they're going to see them blossom? Obviously, you kind of get a feel for, are they going to be day one starters or are they going to be sitting for a year? Obviously, if they're sitting for a year, you're not taking them any sort of high position, any best balls or redrafts, are you? So it's probably more than
like Caleb and Jaden Daniels will start straight away. Drake May will start at some point when the Patriots are comfortable to start him over Brissett. McCarthy will probably be the same after Sam Darnold throws his 10th interception.
So put your redraft head on.
Yeah.
Right. So you get your redraft hat.
Mhm.
Redraft hat on, not a head.
Yeah.
Which out of this rookie, while we're talking about QBs, which out of this rookie QB batch
Yep.
are you redraft relevant, really?
Jaden Daniels for sure. The Commanders. It wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Jaden Daniels outscored Drake May, outscored Caleb Williams this year.
Really?
Excuse me. In fantasy point, he's gonna run around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Russian production for quarterbacks is so valuable.
That's your fantasy money, isn't it? The old rushing yard for your quarterback.
Yeah.
I guess we're all looking for the next CJ Stroud, aren't we? And it kind of gives me a bit of Caleb Williams and the roster that the Bears have put around him feels like he could have a CJ Stroud type impact and say he's really, really good, really talented, and he's got some real firepower, and he's going to start slinging it, and he hits from day one because he's that good. That feels like that's got a realistic chance of happening.
I think, we were talking about it before earlier on today in the WhatsApp group. So if you're a casual player and you see, oh well, this Caleb Williams has been drafted first, so he must be the best. Do you know what I mean? And he probably is the best. He probably is the best for the team. But you always have to remember that the team don't give a shit about your fantasy points. Do you know what I mean? So you have to. It's not as easy to think, well, this player's been drafted before this player, so this player I might have to pick this player up in first. You know what I mean? There's so much more to it. It's just be mindful of that.
Yeah, and that's why I like
Caleb. Caleb's not immobile either. He had 1,500 yards rushing in college, 27 rushing touchdowns. So he's not immobile himself. And like you say, he does have very good weapons around him. The Bears have a good defense, so everything's there for him to set up. I think I'm not saying Daniels will outperform him, outproduce him fantasy wise this year. But if he did, it wouldn't be a shock at all.
I think again, you just look at those top three quarterbacks, picks 1, 2, and 3. The landing spot in Chicago and what they've got around him now feels like he's got more of a chance to succeed. If they're all 9 out of 10 level quarterbacks, going into Chicago feels like a better place to succeed than going into New England, certainly, and probably going into Washington.
Definitely. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So this new website we're using, which we're not sponsored by the way. I hope don't mind us there.
We're open for sponsorship if you want to hit us up. Give them the website.
Or basically, those messages said, "Stop using our website." But,
You've ruined our brand value.
Yeah, the most comparable player for Jaden Daniels is Lamar Jackson.
Nice.
So
nice.
That was probably ties into your earlier comment about his Russian potential.
Just on one thing that Lamar is excellent at is avoiding hits. Lamar's very good at not getting hit. Jaden Daniels is the polar opposite. You go on YouTube and put in Jaden Daniels hits. There's some absolute car crashes in there, like some really, really, really bad hits.
And does that mean he's going to end up a bit like Anthony Richardson?
If he doesn't learn, if he doesn't, then body type wise, Daniels is nothing like he's stick thin. Like Richardson's a big boy, eh?
Yeah.
Where Jaden Daniels,
Hey, you can be as big as what the quarterback. Some of them guys pounding the floor are massive.
Well, that's it. Like Richardson weighed in at 244. Jaden Daniels didn't actually win at the combine. Weighed in, I think it is pro day. We only weighed in at 210. So that's a big difference there. But no, that's his fantasy ceiling is like a Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields type.
Okay. So if we get into the
Any other quarterbacks? Sorry, Baz. Any other quarterbacks you'd think of in the redraft?
I mean, we've just discussed Penix. He's nothing for a redraft. In a dynasty, you'd probably take him because you're hoping that there's a good quarterback there, but you'd probably take him quite low down. And then we've touched on JJ McCarthy. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not convinced by him too much, Blandy, in terms of how good he's going to be day one, whether he's going to have to develop a little bit to get it fit into NFL style. If they're going to ask him to sling it around a bit more than he has done previously.
Yeah, it was like Michigan did a good job of hiding him to a point, but to give him credit, when it got into third and long situations and they needed him to make play, he made a play every single time. He was the most effective quarterback in the class when it came to third and 7 plus.
I don't mind any quarterback who some of his stats might not jump off the chart, but if they've got that know how to win a game and know how to see it through and how to play under pressure, clutch plays, that's something that maybe there isn't a stat for. You've just got it. And he might be that guy.
Yeah, in that sense, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Purdy, where he's not when Purdy was in college, but Purdy at the 49ers. Just that they're a run heavy team, but when they need him to make a play, more often than not, he can move the chains for them. And I think to start with, McCarthy's going to be that kind of player to an extent, because I'm not sure that Kevin O'Connell is going to want to go away from his pass-heavy system. So we'll see.
No, probably not when you've got Justin Jefferson out there saying, "Oh, send it on my way."
You got Jefferson, you got Addison, and even last year when he was rolling out Nick Mullins and the astronaut fella, they were still really pass heavy. So that's why I think Sam Darnold will at least start the season. How long he starts for, I don't know, but Justin McCarthy's ready.
And I guess we're probably going to have to mention I'm going to say it inverted commas, my man, Bo Nix. Sixth QB off the board into the Broncos. Marvellous.
Well, he's definitely going to start day one. That's for sure.
No Jarrett Stidham for a spell.
No, like Sean Payton. I watched an interview with him straight after he was drafted. That Sean Payton did. He was absolutely gushing about him. He compared him to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh gosh,
which is rich.
Feels a stretch.
Yeah, because but yeah, he's going to start day one. So especially if you're in a super flex league and you need some production from a second quarterback, he's definitely one that you can earmark.
Yeah.
Redraft head on. I was just thinking of another question while you were talking there. So redraft head on. So the likes of Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels in redraft hot on again.
Yeah.
Would you you'd forget about the QBs and happily pick one of them up, like, I don't know, in the late rounds, Are they
No,
sort of,
I think you would want an established quarterback, and then you put.
so you wouldn't take that chance on these two?
No. I would pick him up as your second quarterback, stick him on your bench, and I think you'll probably know pretty early on whether you're going to get any production out of him or good production out of him in the rookie season. And then you can decide what you want to do with that guy that you've drafted as your first quarterback.
I was going to say, I guess in a redraft league, if you're going to go for one of these guys, the sort of third, fourth, fifth quarterbacks in this rookie draft, you're going to have to be going with a strategy that says, I'm going to pick a mid-round, I'm going to pick a Kirk Cousins, I'm going to pick a Geno Smith, and then I'm going to take one of these guys in the hope that, one of them hits and I've got some options, rather than say, I'm not going to say I'm going to take Mahomes, I'll take Allen, and then I'm going to waste a 7th round pick on.
Yeah.
Because they're never going to be good enough to force out those top guys. But if you take, let's say, the pack, you might say, I'll take a middle pack and then a punt on somebody that might just, be a bit of a...
So it's a strategy of concentrate on running backs, wide receivers, and then picking that QB up later, and then sacrificing that sort of punt wide receiver that you might take in the later round on the QBs, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just to touch on Baz's point there, like you mentioned, Geno Smith, both Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels go well before Geno Smith in drafts at the moment. Market's very down on Geno this year. I quite like him actually. I think he's a very.
I was
really
just
good
thinking of some. I was just trying to think of some
Yeah,
middle of the road
yeah.
QBs. I wasn't necessarily thinking of him, but he's not. They're not in that elite, but
Geno's going as QB 23 at the moment. Caleb's going QB 11. Jaden Daniels QB 14. I mean, one quarterback that the market is very down on is Justin Herbert. He's quarterback 16.
And is that because of the coach and the system that we feel is coming there?
Yes. Yeah. And they want to pass too.
Oh, we'll get on to that later, won't we?
So the gambler in me thinks, if I fancy one of these QBs, I might just wait and just prioritize everything else and get one of these rookie QBs and let it ride.
Yeah, like you say,
because if they're playing every week, you're going to get 12 points.
Yeah,
but if you pick up the next CJ Stroud and you've managed to get your first 4 rounds as some stud receivers, stud running backs, then you pick up a QB who turns out to be outstanding, then you can have a very good chance, aren't you?
Jaden Daniels might give you 12 points just with his legs. Most weeks, 60 yards and a rushing touchdown or something like that.
He might be running for his life as well, mightn't he? If he's
it might be if the Commanders don't sort the left tackle situation out.
That's our friend Sam Howell's big problem, wasn't it? Getting I know he held on to a while, but he was getting sacked left, right, and centre, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, but sacks are mainly a quarterback stat. And Howell came in with a really, really bad pressure sack rate. 26 from college, he 26.7% of the time on pressures turned into sacks. But Jaden Daniels is not much better. He's at 24.5%. I mean, they're actually alarming numbers then. So the lack of a left tackle is not going to help him in that regard. But if he can escape with his legs, that might be what he has to do in his rookie
year. Moving on to wide receivers. So obviously, the first one we're going to talk about is Marvin Harrison Jr.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be they're going to be straight in, isn't he? And going to be the number one.
He will be the wide receiver one in the offense. I'm not going to say he's going to be the receiver one, but he's going to be the wide receiver one. I think Trey McBride will still out target.
You think he's going to carry that form over from the second half of last year into this year?
Yeah, I do.
No reason not to, but you never know.
I think
So
I think Trey McBride should be the first tight end draft. He's not, but I think he should be the first tight end drafted.
Ooh, I'll have to remember that when I'm drafting with you, Blandy. That you're Scarlett McBride. You're going to go for him as early as I am.
Yeah, he goes around about pick 45 at the moment. So you're getting good prices. To be honest, you're getting good prices on all the tight ends at the minute. There's no round one Kelsey anymore. So.
hey, Wallace retired as well,
Yes. Yeah. Well, he hasn't confirmed his retirement, but he's going to retire. Yeah, that seems to be the what's going to happen.
I couldn't believe that when I heard it.
Just injuries took his toll.
Yeah. He still must be young, is he?
No, he was old. He was an old prospect, and he was converted wide receiver. So
young compared to us.
yeah, just about. Yeah, I think he's early 30s. I think.
Yeah, oldest fucker.
Yeah, old man.
So, So in terms of for wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. So in Dynasty, where's he going?
101 or 102.
Right.
Even in drafts, even in super flex drafts with Caleb, he's still going at the 101 sometimes.
So I know there's not. Go on, Baz. Go on.
No, just say he's been billed as the complete receiver to come out of college, isn't he? All of the route tree, all of the polished skill set, everything you possibly want.
The only thing he lacks is yards after the catch. He's not, or he wasn't in college the greatest yards after catch receiver. He was
Is he a catch it on the outside, perimeter outside sort of man rather than power through the tackles?
Yeah, I don't want to say he's a contested catch because he's not, because he just gets open so easily. But yeah, he's not someone who's going to catch a ball and then run away from someone and go 70 yards.
Mm-hmm. We don't need that, though, do we? Again, if you get targets, and you get open, you catch it, you go out of bounds, you catch it, you get tackled within a couple of yards, but you're still getting, deep, a good air dot, then, we can live with that. We can't have everything.
Yeah, he was the only receiver in this class with an open score of 100.
So Dynasty hat on still.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a lot of variables to this, but
Mm-hmm.
are you trying to trade to get that draft pick? If you've got old wide receivers in your squad that you're not happy with? Can you think of anyone that you kind of might trade that draft pick for? I don't know if that's too vague a question. But,
yeah, it is. What I would say is that it's all right talking about hypotheticals of trading into certain picks, but the reality of actually being able to trade into certain picks is quite different. So, because a lot of the time now, well, especially now, people know who these picks are, so they can put names to them. So they're now less likely to trade those picks because they know the player that you're trading for is perceived to be a stud.
Do you think there's much difference in the top handful of receivers, Blandy? Is there if you were sat on a 104 pick or 105 pick and you just have to take whichever one falls to you, or do you think you have to make a move to get the perceived number one?
I was in a draft in the last couple of days, and I had the 103. Caleb went 101. Marvin Harrison went 102, and I was absolutely delighted to take Malik Neighbors at 103. If it wasn't for Marvin Harrison and how people speak about Marvin Harrison in this class, if he wasn't there, people would speak exactly the same about Malik Neighbors. He's absolutely quality.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Up's joined us. Thanks for joining, Paul. He likes your
Paul.
updated background, Blandy. You
Well,
spared
Paul,
you spared no expense on that.
No
He spared
expense.
no
Loads.
expense.
That the whole budget has gone on that background
Yeah,
Well,
well, saying that,
these Chinese jerseys.
there.
saying that it's better than Baz's, isn't it? Baz's fucking spent us on booze. Background budget's gone.
I don't think I've got it in my locker. I put a poster on the wall. I don't think I've got.
Yeah. And then to touch on the next wide receiver, Roma Dunze, his profile isn't as perfect as Harrison's and his neighbours, but he's still very, very good. He's still a very, very good profile.
There seemed to be a consensus top 3, whichever order you might like people. Those 3 seem to be quite highly above the rest of them. So that was kind of a point. If you sat there and pick 5 or 6 in a dynasty rookie draft, do you just take the one who falls to you, or do you make a move to get somebody? I'm not sure I would be making many moves to just take the one who falls to me.
Yeah. In that particular draft I spoke about, where I am Malik Neighbours, I also had a couple of other picks in the top 5 or 6, and I think I took Roma Dunze 6th overall. I think he
Nice.
came to me at 6th overall. So, happy to take all 3 of them. What I would say with the Dunze this year, obviously he's gone to the Bears. They have DJ Moore, they have Keenan Allen this year. I think there's the potential there for it to be a bit of a slower rookie season for him than for the other 2. But Keenan Allen's 32.
It's not going to take him long to make his mark, is it? It's not going to be too many years, but it might be the best part of the year.
Because Allen's only there on a 1-year deal, basically. He's 32. He's on the last year of his deal. So, the likelihood is he's not going to be there next year. So a Dunze at the worst next year is going to be the 2. And it's not, it's not out of the reckoning that he could pass a 32-year-old Keenan Allen already this year, and challenge DJ Moore for the wide receiver 1 role there. In his rookie year, he is a very good prospect himself.
Good enough.
Yeah.
And the other one with Malik Neighbours is, how much do you factor in the quarterback play in New York and Daniel Jones trying to throw it somewhere near him?
Yeah. I mean, it might be a bit rough. The good thing is with Neighbours is he can play inside and outside. You can line him up in the slot. He's unlike Marvin Harrison. Neighbours' yards after the catch is absolutely electric. So you can give him these gimme looks, little layup passes, and just allow his athleticism to go and get some fake yards for Daniel Jones, shall we say?
Yeah, get him on the ball, get him in a bit of open space, and let the rest take care of itself. And that's normally a way to ease in a rookie anyway, isn't it? To try and manufacture him some touches to get his confidence up.
Easy touches. Yeah.
Redraft hat on.
I think.
Redraft hat on. Marvin Harrison Jr. Where are you thinking about him in a redraft league? So like end of the second round or something like that?
Well, that's it. Like I said, now at the moment in best ball, he's going 13th. He's going 13th overall. So the first pick. But in general home leagues, I don't think he'll go that high. I think he'll probably go the early 3rd round, I would think.
I was going to make the same thing. I think your best ball players, people playing best ball now, are the people who are well tuned into things and are just on that hype train, aren't they? Saying, I've got to get this guy. I think if you're in home leagues, I think it's going to, home leagues, he's going to slip a bit more. People are not going to be as bullish when they see some of the other names on the board that are very established, good receivers, and they're going to let that slip a little bit more.
It. and also there's a different dynamic in best ball as well. Also, all the money is at the back end of the year, so kind of the only thing that really matters is making sure your team is peaking at the back end of the year. And unlike redraft leagues, managed home leagues, you can't make changes, you can't make waivers during the season. So that's why these rookies do get pushed up the board in those formats, because what somebody does in week one is it literally does not matter. It
slow
does not
burn, is
matter.
it? Like people like a slow burn.
Yeah.
So you
And
must
we
have
all
like
know, and we know through from history that rookies in any position, their rookie production peaks at the end of the year.
right. So you must have a lot of casual players going like who were just used to being in redraft leagues, going to do like DraftKings or whatever, and thinking, "Fucking hell, I'm getting our best ball. I'm getting this player cheap here." They kind of fall in that trap.
Yeah, they'll be
then-
licking the lips at getting Derrick Henry in the 4th round.
With you.
What the
With
Baz?
Hang on, right?
Yeah,
Get him in. He's at the Ravens now, isn't he?
he is probably
Ooh.
not a bad pick actually at the price
Lovely
he's going.
stuff. I'm going to hopefully get a fair bit of the king.
Should we go
again? Just
Sorry, Baz, go on.
Just very quick one. If you're in a dynasty league and you're in that picks 101 to 106, it's effectively a 3 QB, 3 wide receiver. Which one do you like the best? Is your pick depending on what your roster's looking like, or do you prefer the receivers in that early spot or the quarterbacks in that early spot? I think I would lean towards those 3 receivers, but I'd struggle to go past Caleb Williams, I think.
Yeah. With wide receivers and quarterbacks, it generally, especially ones that have been taken this high in the NFL draft, it generally doesn't matter. So you can just take who you perceive to be the best player available there.
Just whoever you fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I guess we move past that. Those first 6 players we've covered a fair bit, and get into the second half of the first round and the second round. Who are we liking? Who's standing out to us?
Myself, I like Xavier Worthy. Of the next bunch of wide receivers. His statistical profile is very good, it's top notch. He had was either the best or one of the best ever true freshman seasons at Texas. Now, obviously, he ran the fastest ever 40-yard dash, which was great for him, but is actually irrelevant, because you look at other ones that have run the record 40-yard dash, they've been shite when it's actually come to being in the NFL. But the difference between Worthy and those guys is he actually had legitimate college production, where the other guys had nothing to back it up.
Just runners.
They were just fast, basically, yeah. So his statistical profile is top notch anyway, and then obviously he does that, which bumps him up a bit more, and then he gets drafted to the Chiefs in the first round, which then bumps him up a bit more, because it's a great landing spot.
Is the danger that we look at all these stars around and think really talented, good stats, really fast, going to the Chiefs, got Patrick Mahomes, that we think all the stars lines and go, this guy's the new Tyreek Hill, he's gonna do everything. And then we go, actually, the Chiefs historically just spread the ball everywhere. They never have a number 1 wide receiver unless it was Hill, and rookies take a long time to develop, and it isn't what we think it's going to be. I've got that niggling doubt in my head that it just seems too obvious.
They might do that, but like targets are earned, though, yeah. So
yeah, absolutely.
They're not given. And when the Chiefs have spread the ball around, it's because they've had Sky Moore, MVS, Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Watson, Richie James, Kadarius Toney. Like
I was going to say, what's Kadarius Toney done? What's Toney done to earn his targets again? Just remind me that one.
Exactly. So, like, none of these players can command targets. Hence, why they're just spread about.
Mm-hmm.
Worthy had a 27% target share in his career in college, 27% targets per out run in college. So he was a target dominator on a team that had another wide receiver that was drafted in the second round, and a tight end on the team that was drafted in the fourth round. So as like a team, the strength of teammates go. He was competing against pretty strong guys there as well.
He's held his own there in that scenario.
Yeah. And then he goes to the Chiefs, who, bar Rashid Rice, who has had one of the worst off seasons ever. When it comes,
he's got a long charge feet, hasn't he?
Yeah. There's no competition there. He's competing with Sky Moore and Justin Watson, and that's about it. MVS has gone. I think Kadarius Toney's still there. But yeah, he's competing with nothing.
So whereabouts are you taking a punt on Xavier Worthy in redraft?
I think you'll still be able to get him in the middle rounds. So I think you'd be able to pick him up in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, somewhere like that, I would imagine. At the moment in best ball, with the Rice stuff, he's starting to rise up now. He's flipped Rice. He's going in the mid 50s there. But again, these rookies get bumped up a bit more in best ball. So I think you'll still be able to get him a bit later in redraft.
Nice. Well, while we're talking about wide receivers, you have to go to our new best mate,
the man,
Lad McConkey. Look at that! Look at his cheeky smile. Look at his cheeky smile there. It's fantastic, isn't he? Just loving life, that lad.
Yes. And I don't watch very much college football at all, but the bits I did see last year, he seemed to feature quite heavy, and I just sort of said, I like this guy. Great hands, great sort of playmaking skills, gets himself open. He's a bit sort of tricky. He's got lots of things that I like. I'm big on this guy, and he's gone to the Chargers, and he's not got a great deal of competition again there for earning your targets, even if they're not going to sling it. Herbert's still going to he's still going to throw it some point, and he's going to be the guy to catch it.
Yeah. He's like, his statistical, analytical profile is bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Like 11% target share at Georgia, 16% dominant rating, 1.2 yards per team pass attempt, abysmal, like really, really poor. But then targets per route run, 24%, yards per route run, 2.5, exceptional, really, really good. Just why didn't they play him? Why did he not play? It's really bizarre. Because he only ran the 5th amount of routes on Georgia last year, and he was competing with guys that were UDFAs in this draft. So it's just really, really, really bizarre. But what he's done on a per route basis when he's actually been on the field has been very, very strong. And he is for a white wide receiver, he is very athletic as well.
I'm expecting some big things from this guy, and I'm going to take a few swings at him in various points in all the different leagues I'm in. I think he's got something that could just be that little bit of a from nowhere just ends up quite a few rounds better than where he's going to go.
He's got that Cooper Cup feel about him. I think it's I don't know, it's just a feeling about him.
Quite possibly. But he's far more athletic than Cooper Cup was. Cup wasn't particularly athletic. Where like he's got 4.39. He ran a 4.39 at 40 at the combine, 3.97 short shuttle, like really really athletic.
6 foot.
And yeah, and the interesting thing about him is, you look at him, he's a white wide receiver, so obviously he's a slot receiver, plays in the slot.
Yeah.
He doesn't he lined up outside 70% of the time. He was an outside wide receiver.
That's the first thing I thought when I seen him. I thought he must play in the slot.
Well, obviously he's white.
Yeah.
He's a wide receiver who's white, so they all play in the slot, but he's not. He spent 70% of the time lined up outside at Georgia, so he can do it all. He just, for whatever reason, didn't do it an awful lot.
Yeah. I like his cheeky smile. I like his cheeky hair. I like his cheeky McConkey name. Just like McConkey, I was like that name. And when he was talking when he got drafted, he just seemed like a really nice lad. Seemed like a really nice lad.
Seems a good kid. Yeah.
So I like him.
Just like bizarre usage, but when he was used, he was really good.
Yeah, me and Baz are going to be fighting over him a few times this season.
I can see that. Yeah.
I even asked for the new horse to be named after him.
Did you?
Yeah. Lad McConkey.
I'll vote for that.
Not Maserati Marv, no?
No, Lad McConkey. And here comes Lad McConkey on the outside.
Go on, lad.
Go on, lad.
Go on, lad. Yeah, go on, lad. I like it. Let's do it. Fucking new horse name sorted. So we had Lad McConkey in our. He would drop down to. Did he go down to tier 4? No, tier 4. He was in. Lad McConkey
on the Blandy list.
I think
on the Blandy list.
And they have him as wide receiver 5, I think, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
I flipped him and Pearsall.
So if you're going the main 3 that we talked about, then you're probably going Worthy. That's pretty high.
Sorry, no, wide receiver 6. Sorry, I've got Brian Thomas over him as wide receiver.
I was going to say, I'm guessing you look at like Brian Thomas and Ricky Purcell as the in that same ballpark area now, yeah.
I've got Thomas. I have Thomas a tier above him. I've Thomas, Bornix, Jonathan Brooks, the 3 of them in one tier. And then I have McConkey, Pearsall, Coleman, and Trey Benson in tier 4.
Well, we'll have to talk about Ricky.
Go this way. Go Ricky Pearsall first, then.
Yeah, just because Paul Love's watching, so we'll have to do the 49ers faithful there.
Shout out.
Well, I just look at his. It looks like he's been down Simply Rogan Dollar, doesn't he? Look at his nice haircut, nice beard trim. Looks the part, doesn't he? Tattooed chest. He's a 49er all day long, that lad.
He looks like he's going to be that photo with all those blokes with the puffed out chests and the tight ankle biting trousers,
skinny jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he catches everything, Blandy, doesn't he?
Catches everything, yeah. I mean, he has probably the best catch of college history, I think. You'll find it on YouTube. Just put in Ricky Pearsall catch. Absolutely unreal one-hander. As per usual with the 49ers, they like to draft all players. So he's a 5-year player in college, but was solid receiver. Really, really good last year. He's very athletic as well. But this year he's going to be a year for him unless they trade Ayuk or Debo. I think it's very much a draft pick where they're going to give him a year to acclimatise to the system, to the team, to the NFL, and then next year when Ayuk or Debo are not on the team, or both are not on the team, then he's going to be there and he's going to be ready to produce from day one for him next year. This year, unless Debo gets moved, which is more likely of the 2, but still unlikely now, then I think he's just going to be a role player. he'll have boom games because obviously he's in a really good system, really good team. But for redraft, knowing when those games are going to be, you're never going to be able to predict them. So long as Debo or Ayuk are both fit.
Redraft hat on. Does this impact where you're taking Debo and Ayuk?
No, it doesn't impact them. And unless you're a,
So you're not worried
49ers
about him
owner-
getting a bit more targets, more receptions.
No.
So the bits I've heard about him as well was he's quite a good team player in terms of the blocking game and putting the hard yards in a bit of a grafter, which is obviously what you need to be to get him on the pitch at San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then the other bit of information was there was talk about Debo getting traded on day 2 of the draft, and the 49ers sort of made the decision, no, we're sticking with him. So I guess that would be, if they were going to draft him, that would be the point. So if they're going to trade him, that would be the point to trade him.
Most likely, yes. I think now the most likely outcome is that both Debo and Ayuk play this year for the 49ers, and then next year one or both are no longer on the roster.
The cap position is obviously pretty good at the moment for another year, that they can roll most of the guys out again, and
Yeah, but next year, they're about 25, 30 million over the cap already with current contracts, and obviously next year they have to pay Purdy amongst other good players on their defense.
Yeah, so they'll have to get a bit creative there, or move a player or two on.
Yes, Debo's contract's the easiest to shift.
Okay.
They can.
What about,
off the top, I believe they can actually save money if they shift Debo.
What about Brian Thomas then? Just sticking with wide receiver, just a couple of quick touch on Brian Thomas. Do we like the landing spot there going to Jacksonville?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I like the landing spot quite a bit because as a Calvin Ridley owner in our redraft league last year, Barry, how many almost touchdowns did Calvin Ridley almost score?
Yeah,
there was quite a few where Lawrence just missed him on a slight overthrow here and there. A couple that Ridley dropped. Brian Thomas doesn't command that many targets. He's not a target earner, target dominator at the moment. He's raw. But what he does do is he scores touchdowns. He scored 17 last year. He's a touchdown machine. So he didn't do a great deal for LSU because it was mainly Malik Neighbors who was getting a lot of the yardage. But when they needed a big play, he's very fast. He ran past somebody and caught a 70-yard touchdown most of the time.
And again, just looking at that receiver room that they're going to have now in Jacksonville, Calvin Ridley's gone. I think they've released Zay Jones. They've brought in Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
Again, I think Thomas is going to be a better option than Davies on these go routes or deep balls. So he's probably only Christian Kirk's going to be the only other sort of main competition. He should get a good share of, if they share it around across 3 people, he should get his reasonable share if he does, get open and make the most of them from some long touchdowns. And I think he's got some good production there.
Yes.
I think, again, what we know about Trevor Lawrence is he is an accurate quarterback. So I think it feels like a good fit for me.
Yeah, Trevor likes to he likes to throw but he's not scared to throw interceptions. So he will chuck it up and give his receivers chances. Yeah, he's
I like
he's like
Thomas.
He's like a fast Gabe Davis. That's what they're like. That's what he's like at the moment. He's raw. Like he only played 3 years in college. For 2 years, he did next to nothing. Last year, he absolutely went nuclear, and that's what's got him drafted so highly.
And the other one that I do like a little bit as well, a bit later on, is the Denver receiver Troy Franklin. I think he's got a bit of upside. I know you're possibly going into not a great roster. You've got questionable quarterback or rookie quarterback. You know what he's going to do, but I think this guy's got again a little bit of something about him where if they can get him some touches, he can make some things happen, and he might not have too many people to beat to get good share of targets.
He shouldn't have many people to beat to get on the field. The analytics community before the draft really loved him. We're very much in on him. Very strong analytically. Profile was very, very good. But the NFL, with where they took him, threw up a lot of red flags. I know people that watch wide receiver tape and like Matt Harmon and Matt Waldman, these guys, they have a lot of question marks about his ability to beat man coverage because he's very slight. He's very light, and if people can put the hands on him, then that's it. That's the play over kind of thing. So while he was very, very good at Oregon doing what Oregon asked him to do, I think the NFL's kind of saying that might not be translatable. He needs to develop, etc., etc. But I agree with you. He's going into a situation where he's basically got no one to beat out to get on the field. So he should be given an opportunity to fail, basically.
Yeah, and I say Bo Nix is Oregon, playing with his previous quarterback. I think again, from what I understand about them, they're quite a gimmicky particular offense, so not necessarily translatable. But if there's a bit of connection between the two players, and then you can hit them on short slot routes or slants and stuff, then that's going to be a nice way to feed him in. So there's things I like about that. If I'm not sold on Bo Nix, I think he's still going to have to throw the ball. He's still going to have to put somebody. He might not be good enough to pick out Cortland Sutton over the top, so he might just have to hit the shorter stuff to Franklin.
So in redraft league, are you taking like a punt on him late on?
Probably not. I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
I haven't done enough research into who goes where, but I would be looking if you get him in the very last couple of rounds, and the sort of players I wouldn't mind throwing a dart or two at, depending on who else is available at that point.
I think he'll be someone who you don't have to draft and you can pick up off waivers in week 6 or something like that. I'm just
unless he has a belter week 1 and everyone's scrambling for him week 2.
Yeah. I'm looking at him. He's gone wide receiver 74 at the moment. 74.
I don't mind it in a redraft league having a few darts late on at rookies, and then if nothing happens in the first few weeks, cut them and you've lost nothing.
Yeah.
But if they do have a boom week 1 or 2, you've got nicely tucked away in your satchel.
Yeah. I agree with that. I just think there might be better rookies than him.
Quite possibly.
Yeah. But I agree with your strategy in principle.
So if you've got a running back shortage in Dynasty and you look at this year's draft, you kind of fucked really, aren't you?
Well, if you've got because the only the best prospect per the league is a guy who's recovering from an ACL surgery. So you're not going to get any immediate production out of him anywhere. So he didn't have his ACL surgery until mid-November, I don't think it was. So you're kind of looking September, October time to where he might be able to return to play.
For Brooks?
And then, for Jonathan Brooks, And then obviously he's a rookie, so although he's a second-round pick, they have Chuba Hubbard there. They're going to bring him along slowly, and let's be honest, the Panthers they weren't, and they may improve now with some better coaching, but they weren't a great team last year. So how much upside is that offense going to give you? He's a tough click. He's a tough click.
It didn't feel like from the chatter that it was a great running back class, did it? And we also know there's a trend of undervaluing your running backs because you get a rookie, you bang them in there, they get injured or whatever, you burn them out, and you move on.
Yeah.
So
There
the
was
draft capital for your rookie running backs has
Yeah.
gone down as a league.
Yeah.
That's just a general rule of thumb now. And then when I've looked through some of these landing spots, I'm not seeing, we've seen in the past, that running back's gone there. They're going to be, there's a Brees Hall or there's the guy at the Falcons. You think, they're going to start Bijan. They're going to start as day one and they're exceptional. Again, even Jamal Gibbs going to the Lions. I think they're exceptional running backs. They're going to make some fun. I'm just not getting a feel. Not that I'm any sort of got a deep dive into these guys. That there's people I'm queuing up to draft early.
No, and you're not going to have to draft them early. Some of them you might not end up drafting at all. The thing with the running back class was there was no star in the class.
No studs.
Then kind of said, everyone said, oh well, it's a crap running back class. It's probably actually all right running back class without having a star in it. There's probably a good handful of serviceable committee backs that in a spot start can give you RB1, RB2 numbers. This guy, for instance, who Ant's got on there, Trey Benson, I really liked him as a prospect. I thought he was probably the best prospect in the class. The NFL, obviously, they disagreed. But he was, even in college, he was a committee back. He goes to the Cardinals. They take him in round 3, which is okay, but not great, which doesn't suggest that we're just going to kick James Conner to the side completely and it's going to be Trey Benson's backfield. It's probably going to be a committee between the two, and this is the last year of Connor's contract, so as the season goes on, he might get phased out a bit. Trey Benson might take on a bigger role, and it might be one again more for next year.
So do you see in best ball that Benson's going higher than he would in redraft?
Yeah. There might
because you obviously think that long term, don't you, rather than
but no, one they'll probably go in the same range for 2 reasons. One is that he should give you something straight away. In that although he'll be the lesser part of a committee, he will be on the field playing. And 2 is he's most likely the handcuff to James Conner. So if Conner goes down, then it's kind of his backfield. So he's a backup insurance. So I think that will be why he will, in both redraft and best balls, probably end up going in the same range.
With you.
Because of the contingent value.
Yeah, it feels like always all the time we spent about talking about receivers, especially those elite ones. We think potential superstar day one. The way the NFL values running backs, there's not many bell cows. If we're not saying there's not a real star in there, there's nobody jumping off the page saying, I really want them in my fantasy team, and therefore I'm willing to pay a little bit more than the market value, the consensus value for them. I'll just see who falls my way. And then you're just probably going to flip through depth charts and think, how many people does he have to beat to get on the field? What's his competition like? If he is in a committee, has he got a better chance of establishing himself as the 1A, 1B scenario, or is he going to be 3rd or 4th man up and relying on injuries? You've got to feel like you're trying to pick. You're going to roll some dice later on in some whatever format and try and get lucky on some of these guys.
Yeah. Can rattle just through a couple of.
But if there's anyone you want to speak about,
for just more so people are aware of and in the situation that they're in, because all these guys that have been drafted near enough, they're all behind established starters. So what you're interested in is running backs that are going to be second on the depth chart, the one injury away basically from being fantasy relevant. So the top 2 would be Blake Corum for the Rams. They drafted him to basically be the backup to Kyron. The Rams last year without Kyron went 1-3, and me being a Rams fan, watching those games with Ronnie Rivers, Darrell Henderson, Royce Freeman trying to run the ball, it was pretty painful, and obviously the Rams recognise that, and have
So
used,
we need some depth there.
Yes, we've used decent capital on Blake Corum.
Is he a bigger bodied, pounded back compared to some of those other guys you've mentioned, or
No,
is he?
he's small.
Small, isn't he?
Corum. Yeah,
Okay.
he is small. Yeah, he's
5'8".
Yeah, 5'8", 205. He's
Okay.
very similar in stature to Kyron himself, because Kyron's not a big back, and Kyron's light.
No, I just assumed they might look for that bit of a 1-2 punch sometimes. Again, if you've got a rookie,
Yeah,
but he's a big guy, can just wheel him out on the goal line and just thrash him over.
Yeah. I think Corum might siphon off some goal line carries from Kyron, but only if he happens to be on the pitch at the time. It won't be a case of where they have to take one off for the other.
It's decent weight for the size of him though. So he's 5'8" and he's like 14.5 stone.
Yeah, 205. He's stocky, yeah.
Yeah, stocky.
He
Little.
is stocky.
Is that you, Mike?
Yeah.
Just not as explosive.
I was going. Well, yeah, maybe. But yeah, he's insurance for Kyron. Marshawn Lloyd, he's gone to the Packers. Obviously, they paid Josh Jacobs this year, but it was a queer deal that they gave Jacobs. Basically, I think it was a 3 or 4 year deal they gave Jacobs, but it was only this year's guaranteed money. So if Jacobs plays like he played last year, then the Packers can very easily get out of that contract. They can just cut him for no loss, basically. But this year it's going to be Jacobs' job, and Lloyd's going to provide backup to him. He's got to beat out AJ Dillon, who the Packers brought back on a very cheap contract. I don't think AJ Dillon will be on the roster. I think he'll probably end up getting cut.
He was a bit of a pre-season fantasy darling who flopped, wasn't he, last year, AJ Dillon?
Yeah. So Marshawn Lloyd is going to be the next guy up there. They're already talking him up in OTAs, but I mean, they talk everybody up, so it doesn't really.
He must be similar size to Dillon, because 5'9", 15.5 stone.
Yeah, he's a big 220. He's a big back, and he ran well as well at the combine. 4.46, 40 at that weight is very good. It's very good. So we spoke on those two. Bucky Irvin, he went to the Buccaneers. Bucky to the Bucs. Yeah, from that Oregon system that we spoke about earlier on. He's going to be the backup to Rachaad White there. So if anything happens to Rachaad White, also Irvin is a good receiving back, or shall I say, he's an effective receiving back. He had 93 receptions. Yeah, he had 93 receptions in his college career, which is a hell of a lot for a college running back. So he could eat a little bit into what gives Rachaad White his fantasy value, because White as a rusher is below average. White's fantasy value comes from his receiving work, but Irvin's actually not too bad himself at that. So that could ding Rachaad White a little bit. And lower than the market on White this year. I don't fancy paying up for it. But again, Irvin, he's going to be one injury away from being very fantasy relevant. And then we'll go down to Ant's team and Ray Davis, who was drafted by the Buffalo Bills. He's very old, but
I was going to say, he's a 1960s singer, isn't he?
yeah. I
Yeah, he
think
looks
he's
it as well. He looks old, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's 20. Is he
24 and a half.
Maybe. Yeah. So it's going to be 25 by the time the season starts, which is old. So in Dynasty, he's one that you're less interested in, but for redraft, he's probably going to play the Latavius Murray role to James Cook. He'll be the bigger bodied. He might, and obviously the Bills weren't keen to give James Cook the goal line role last year, so he might actually take some goal line work. Although Josh Allen is the goal line back in Buffalo, it might end up with with Ray Davis actually outscoring James Cook in rushing touchdowns anyway. It won't be the biggest surprise. So he's another one to know. I think he's a good receiving back as well. So if anything happens to James Cook, misses a couple of games, it could be Ray Davis' backfield.
I'm keeping clear. Fuck that. Been burnt too many times with Buffalo running backs. Just never seems to happen.
It would be remiss of me not to mention Kamani Vidal as well, who went to the Chargers.
Yeah.
The Chargers, obviously, everything that they've done, all the moves that they've made, they've told us all they want to do this year is just run the ball. They don't want to pass the ball. No interest in having Justin Herbert pass the ball, because obviously he's very good. So why would you want a very good quarterback to pass the ball? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to run the ball with Gus Bus. But they drafted this lad in the 6th round, so it's hard to be enthusiastic about it. But he basically has to beat out J.K. Dobbins, who the Chargers gave $50,000 guaranteed to, which is an atrocious contract for an NFL player. They can quite easily just, if they look at him, they bring him in. I mean, he tore his Achilles last year, so he's coming back off multiple knee surgeries. Now he's torn his Achilles. If they bring him in and he looks like he can't put one leg in front of the other, they can quite easily move on. This guy was...
You get more than 50 grand playing for the London Monarchs, don't you?
Yeah. Like it's a ridiculous contract, But yeah, this Kamani Vidal from Troy, 6th round pick from Troy, that powerhouse college.
I was going to say Troy, yeah.
Yeah, but he was a workhorse. He was a workhorse in college. Decent receiving back. I would make him the RB2 there behind Gus Bus with the Chargers over J.K. Dobbins. I'm not taking J.K. Dobbins in any drafts. I don't think he's draftable.
I'm not sure Gus Bus is a workhorse, is he? I think he's always featured a bit of a committee and hot hand sort of back, isn't he? So
yeah. So they're kind of the names that you need to know for contingent value, one injury away kind of guys at the running back position. There's no real standouts. There's just a lot of decent players.
Yeah, there's no one I'm thinking I really like him in my team. I'm just say if it's in the dynasty, you're just going to probably later on in that rookie drafting fire a few darts at a couple of guys and hope you get lucky, either by injury or the fact that they just develop into a good player.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, are we going to do so the next episode we'll do a live draft? Maybe next week.
Yeah. We'll do.
Are we back at best balls up and in the swing of it now, Blandy? Or
I'm in 66 best ball drafts at the minute. I think slow drafts. Before we came on, I was on the clock in 18 drafts.
This is not normal, by the way. This is not
just normal. He said it's just normal. It's just normal stuff.
I don't think I've done 66 drafts ever.
Yeah, well,
9th of May it's the 9th of May.
Well, the problem is DraftKings of the millionaire contest. They've upped the price. They've upped the entry money to $20 now. It was $5. Then it went to $10. This year it's gone to $20.
Okay.
So I thought, fuck it, I'm not playing in that. I'm not spending $3,000 purely on one contest. So then they introduced the $8 contest, 150 teams. So I thought, right, okay, I'll max that. But then I think everyone else has looked at that and go, okay, I'm gonna max that because it's been open. It's been open 8 days, and it's 70% full already.
Wow.
So I'm just, with all my entries, I'm just trying to keep up with what the current entry rate is. So by the time it fills, I've completed my 150th team. You can enter 150 teams, so I'm max entering that. So yeah, so I'm drafted out. I wake up in the morning, and I'm on the clock. It's like 20 odd drafts. And then
Jesus, wet.
so then I just log in like in intervals throughout the day. So 10 o'clock I'll go back on. Okay, I'll make some picks there. 2 o'clock. Okay, tea time. Okay, bedtime. Okay, right, that's it, done. Right, repeat. So
What a life, Hans.
Fair play to you, mate. Well,
easy money.
Some people waste the time playing Clash of Clans and video games, don't they? You do it obsessing about fantasy football players.
That's it.
You must wake up with hearing the words, "You are on the clock."
Yeah.
20 notifications on his fucking phone.
Oh, look, we're just one's just come in there. You're on the clock. Make your pick now.
Well, but yes, we'll add another one to the list, and
yeah. Well, there's a $3.
They're all slow drafts. So there's some fast ones about, is there?
Yeah. The problem was the $8 fast drafts weren't filling. It was the $8 slow drafts that were filling. But there's a $3 tournament as well, which they filled dead quick. So we'll do a team in the $3 tournament.
Sounds good.
Right, you can only enter 20 in that one, and I've already entered 7 teams. but that's a massive field. So it's only about 7 or 8% full. So we'll do one next week, but then I'm gonna leave it till later on in the summer when that gets close to filling. Then I'll enter the rest of the teams there. Don't want to peak too early, do you?
No, it's definitely not, mate.
Just I don't know what to say.
Some people are just disturbed, Barry.
I might buy a Rubik's Cube, Blandy. I'll send you it over.
Thank you very much.
But so we'll see you next week for a live draft. Thanks for if you join live, and thanks for watching on our YouTube channel. If you're catching up on this, I think I've got a good feeling about this season. I think we're 3 years in. We're experienced. We know what we're doing. We're having fun. I think we could win some leagues this year. Not me. These lads.
Not you.
We can't win our own league, and we invite a lot of Muppets into that. So I don't expect anything different, to be honest. Same old for me.
Just look in it, and
just look. It is just look. Go with your gut.
Yeah.
Oh.
We peaked too soon.
It's nice to talk to you again, lads. I'll see you tomorrow for the Showtime at Holmes horse race.
Bet you will. I'm on the clock.
You're on the clock.